All right, good morning, lifestyle builders. And today I want to jump in and just talk about something that's been bothering me a little bit lately. And it's really seeing people that have been online or in our network for a couple of years and they're not seeing success. So I look at, the network and people that we have, and we have some people in our network that have achieved amazing success. And then I look at and sometimes they do it in a very short amount of time. And then I look at other people in our network, and they're not quite achieving the success they want. In fact, they might actually be 1 to maybe even 3 years into their business, and they're not much further than they were a year or 2 years before when we met them. And I'll tell you, it's very frustrating for me, but it's got to be so frustrating for the people that are in this situation. So I want to just talk today about some of the reasons that you may be struggling to achieve that success, and then some of the things you can do to get past it. So number one thing we find with people that don't have success is that they have a fear. They have a fear of something. And oftentimes we think this is a fear of failure. And I'll tell you, it could be a fear of failure, but more often than not, you've probably failed in life and you've probably gotten past it, right? So failure is going to happen. I mean, we fail every single day. Sometimes it's on a small thing, like, forgetting to pack our daughter's lunch. Sometimes it's on a big thing, like when we actually got fined for illegal gambling at our wine and liquor store because we forgot to put the words "no purchase necessary." So either way, failure is going to happen. So it's not thinking about, hopefully it doesn't fail. As an entrepreneur, what I want you guys to think about is you actually want failure to happen, but you want to force it to happen. And you want to force it to happen on a small scale so that it's happening without having a lot of impact. And then you can change and adjust going forward so the failure doesn't happen on a big scale. So this is something I've seen time and time again where we don't let small failures happen. And as a result, they end up compounding and they become big failures. Now, on the flip side, your fear might not be of failure, but it might be of success. And this is something that a lot of people run into is they don't know what success looks like, or they don't know what's going to change in their life if this thing actually works. So what we find with a lot with these people is they actually self-sabotage. So they do everything right up until about 90%, and then they can't finish that last 10%. And they might call themselves procrastinators. They might get, frustrated because they're like, oh, why do I always procrastinate on things? And that's a good question to ask. Why are you procrastinating? Oftentimes it's linked to one of these things. Now, another reason that people tell us that they're not successful is because they don't have any ideas, or they have too many ideas and they're not sure which one to pick. So this could be valid too, but that's not an excuse for not being successful. That's just a hurdle that you're going to face along the way, right? So one of the things that we take our clients through, if they don't have any ideas, is we run them through and ask them a series of questions. What do people come and ask you for advice on? What career are you in, and what are things that frustrate you with that career, with that job that you think could be better? What industry are you in, and what are things that maybe vendors come and ask you for, right? So there's ideas all around. We actually have a training course that we put out all around how to generate ideas and then how to work through them. So realize that not having an idea is not really a reason not to be successful. It's just something you've got to deal with along the way. On the flip side, if you have too many ideas, this is actually a pretty easy one to solve. Brain dump all the ideas you have, and then I want you to rank them on the course of a couple different things. So one, what are you passionate about, right? That passion is an important thing. What are you good at, right? In order to have a successful business, you probably have to be good at the thing that you're in. What do people need? What are people asking for? And then finally, what are they willing to pay for? So if you rate your ideas by those criteria, you're going to have a bunch that are going to drop out. And then from the remaining ones, what I want you guys to look at is, in order to start this business with this idea, how much time and money is it going to take? And is that in alignment with how much time and money you have available? Because one of the other challenges people face is that they pick the wrong business or business model based on the goals that they have, or based on the time constraints or the financial constraints that they have. So you want to make sure that you're picking an idea that satisfies all of those. It's going to set you up for a lot more success. So, excuse me, sorry, kids in the house, this time you're getting sick. So next up, talking about time and money and financial constraints, A lot of people think they have more constraints on them than they do, right? A lot of people think that, they don't have money so they can't start a business, or they don't have time so they can't start a business. One of the things we often find when we work with clients is when you really take a look at your budget and how money comes in and how money goes out, you probably have money to start a business. You're just putting it in different buckets today. And oftentimes clients can find several $100s a month and free that up in their budget just by looking at their goals and their priorities and then seeing if where they're spending money today is in alignment with that or not. So far too often, people are spending money on things that aren't important to them long-term, but they satisfy a need now. So they're eating out. So they're paying a lot of money for cable or for TV shows. They're spending money on frivolous things that maybe make you happy right now, but they're ultimately going to hold you back from having the success you want because they're taking that money away from being able to invest it in your business. On the same scale, time is another thing. Everyone says, oh, I don't have time. Well, guess what? We all have the same amount of time. It's just how we choose to spend it. And depending on your situation, you might have different constraints, right? We have 2 kids, so that's going to limit a little bit of how we can structure and manage our time, but we still have the same amount of time as everybody else. So when we have people do a time audit and you actually track your time for the week, what you then often figure out is that you actually are spending time on activities that you could drop to free that time up to work on your business. So those, once again, are things that you've got to deal with on this journey, but they shouldn't be excuses for not getting started or for not having success. Now, the next one up is confidence. And a lot of people take this view of, well, I don't have confidence because I haven't done it. And once I do it, then I'll have more confidence. Well, here's the reality. It's a catch-22, right? You've got to have the confidence before you go do it. Otherwise, you're never going to get there. So what we work with a lot of people is not so much having to have done it, but do you know what you're talking about? And are there people that you can legitimately help? Because one of the reframes that I often do with people is if there's clients or people out there that have a need and you can fulfill that need for them, you're actually being selfish by letting some of this fear or this lack of confidence stop you from helping them. Right? You have a solution. They have a problem. You can help solve that problem. And because you're letting some confidence issues or some fear get in your way, you're actually not helping them and you're being very selfish. So just look at it that way. How are you going to feel when you can help somebody out? And as long as you set the right expectations up front and you do everything you can, people are going to appreciate that. And finally, the last thing is going to be trying to be perfect. And this is a form of procrastination when people won't start something because it's not perfect, right? Their website's not perfect. They don't have a logo yet. The copy isn't right. We got to spend a little more time tweaking it. Well, here's the reality. You've got to actually launch things before they're perfect. And what far too many people do when building a business, when building a product, is they want that product to be perfect from the start. And they try to create that perfect product to launch it, and a couple things happen. It took way too long. It took way too much money. They're really kind of overwhelmed and not as passionate anymore because they put so much work into it. And then when people see it, it doesn't exactly hit the mark. So what you actually want to do is you want to focus on what's called a minimum viable product. So when you go to launch something, be it a business, be it a product, be it a service, you want to have a lightweight version of that and talk about what it's going to be and sell people on that vision. Give them the least amount that makes it valuable for them, and then ask for feedback. They're going to tell you what else that business or that service or that product needs, and then you're going to be able to go and add to it. So instead of trying to make everything perfect and having it complete at the beginning, try to make the least amount of possible that can give value to somebody, and then ask for feedback and use the feedback from your actual customers to build success, right? So I just want to share with you guys, if you're not having the success that you want, if you've been in business for 1 year, 2 years, and you're not achieving, the financial results you want, you're not impacting the people you want, realize that it comes back to you and you have the power to control that. You have the power to be successful and make a change, right? But just realize there's things getting in the way, and what you're probably doing is repeating the same stuff over and over again or trying different things, thinking that it's going to work, but you're not being intentional about it. And the biggest thing I'll tell you guys is once you get intentional and once you start addressing some of these myths that I went through today of why you're not successful, and you start realizing that your business doesn't need to be perfect. Start realizing that you have maybe some fear and work with someone to get past that fear, right? Realize that you actually have more time and money available than you realize, and you can invest that in. And once you do that, I guarantee you that you're going to start seeing more traction and more success than you've had in the past. And this is actually the whole reason that we launched Lifestyle Builders, is to help you guys with that, to give you the strategy, to help you understand how your business should look, to help you with the implementation of it, and to be there as a support and guidance if you're running into those issues and you're not facing that traction. So Lifestyle Builders is open all week. We're going to actually shut it down next Monday so that we can focus on the initial members that we've got in there and helping them have success. So if this is sounding like something that you need, something that you want, definitely check us out. Go to tomandariana.com/join, and we'll actually leave a link in the comments below. You guys can check that out. We'd love to have you as part of the Lifestyle Builders, and we'd love to help you guys achieve success.